Hey guys, Hippopotamus here, and I'm back today with my last video for the week. I usually drop 4 videos and then see how we get on. Anyway, this one is a PvP build, and it is called my Mag Dumper. There is a specific reason behind that, and I'll show you a little bit more. But let's start off as we always do and go to the Specialization stable. So I'm running the Firewall Specialization, and the only things really out of here that are of mass interest to us is just the medkit, because that's going to give us 200% armor over 10 seconds. That's very, very, very strong. And just the synergizing weapons, really, the SMG and the shotgun, which goes on to unlock the tactical short grip, which gives us more crit damage with our shotgun, which is quite useful. The other things that you might see some usage out of is the firewall tactical link. If you're playing in a group, your allies gain 10% of damage with enemies that are within 10 meters of you. That could be helpful, I guess. And the Bull Rush, also 30% armor during cover-to-cover moves. You might see some usage out of that, as we have to close distance, as we are using 2 close-range weapons here. So if we were moving from cover to cover, trying to stay low and close the gap between you and an enemy, you might see a little bit of usage out of that. Other than that, there's nothing else to really talk about in that tree. Okay, so if we go down and take a look at the build, and we can go through the main pieces of it. So to start off with, I'll go through my shotgun. I am using an M870 Express. It comes with shotgun damage, damage to targets out of cover, and it also has damage to armor as well. And it comes with the talent Optimist. So Optimist, what it does is, for every 10% of the ammo that's missing from the magazine, or the chamber, or whatever you want to call it, you get 3.5% additional damage. So it's up to 35% extra damage. I can, however, switch shotgun to something similar, which is it's the same damage, near enough, but with brazen. Again, brazen is excellent. It's the better talent. There's no two ways about it. The only complaint that I have with brazen is just that when you activate it, it puts a symbol above your head that lets people know that you have that talent activated. Now, if I'm trying to close a gap on somebody or get close and they see that I've got brazen, they immediately know that I have a shotgun in my hand, and they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to retaliate with a close range weapon, or they're going to move away and make that gap bigger so I can't close the range on them. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm using the M870 Express, this one, just with Optimist, because what I can do is, again, if I keep the magazine at the bottom half, then I'm actually doing quite reasonable damage, not quite as much as brazen, but it's still quite respectable, and it doesn't let anybody know that I'm actually holding a shotgun with a big thing above my head. The only way they're going to know that is when I'm close, and by the time I'm close, it might be already too late. Okay, so I probably should just show the attachments on here as well, just quickly while I'm at it. It's just got crit chance, and as I said, with the skill tree, I am using that tactical short grip to gain extra crit damage, and we have reload speed. So just show that off quickly, just because obviously it's something that we're using out of the skill tree. Alright, moving on. I'm using the Ouroboros. So the Ouroboros is unfortunately locked behind an incursion. The only other way you can get it was from the Brooklyn sealed caches, if you were lucky enough to get one, or playing the incursion, which is the only way to do it right now. Mine comes with SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to targets out of cover. The talent is, you're going to see some use out of it, but it's not really the main reason that I have the gun. It's because of the fire rate and the magazine. But it's rule them all. When an agent has a status effect applied to them, 50% of the ammo in their next magazine will apply the same status effect to their targets. Because we have a bigger magazine, that 50% of your magazine is actually going to go much further than it normally would. So, for our pistol, I feel like I say this every video, I'm using the TDI card. So the TDI card is just for when I'm holding the pistol in my hand. I'm going to gain an extra skill tier. It comes with preservation, so if I'm at a landmark and I'm hurt, I can quickly shoot an enemy and gain some health back. Or if I quickly switch to my pistol when an enemy is knocked, i.e. down on the knees, finish them off with the pistol, this can give me a little bit of armor as well, because we have no other way other than the medkit to actually get any armor back. So this helps. The skill tier is also useful if I'm dropping my decoy. I can hold the pistol and I'm going to get some more duration out of my decoy. Handy because, again, we're having to close a gap. And if I have the drone and I'm escaping from a bad situation, it can keep the drone up and also make it more effective at blocking damage. So that's my main reasons behind that. Right, so for the backpack, I am using the Ninja Bike. It's another Ninja Bike build, and this comes with one of each of the tiers, so a weapon damage tier, 170,000 armor, and a skill tier, and this comes with a crit hit damage mod plugged in, 12%. I have the talent resourceful, so in a very, very short version of that, what it does is it unlocks multiple brand sets and gear set bonuses. So if we have one piece, we have two. If we have two pieces, we have three. And if we have three pieces, we have four. And it can unlock multiple brand sets or gear sets. So we could have a piece of Giller, a piece of Golan, and a piece of something else. And it would unlock brand sets in all of those. So it can unlock multiples. Okay, with that, we can look at the next piece, which is my mask, and this is a Sokolov Concern mask. It has a roll of weapon damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and a crit hit damage mod plugged into it. Now, because we're wearing the backpack, as we've just said, we not only gain the 10% SMG damage, but we also get the second bonus, which is 13% crit hit damage. That's useful because we are trying to stack crit chance, crit damage everywhere. For the chest piece, for the chest piece, I'm using the 0Fs. Main reason for this is I am using the shotgun. I like Unbreakable. Unbreakable is an excellent talent in PvP. The main thing to note, though, is that this will only give you 55% of your armor back in PvP rather than the 100, but it's still 5 more than the normal talent. And considering that we do take a little bit of extra total armor here because of the Badger Tough pieces, we get shotgun damage and total armor. We're going to see a little bit more value out of that, just a tiny little bit more. The total armor is also nice as well because with the amount of blue cores that we have, we would have been closer to 1.5 million. Now we're nearer 1.6, so we're somewhere in between a person that's got 4 blue cores and someone that's got 5. So it's like 4.5, I guess. Yeah, this comes rolled with armor, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and a crit hit damage mod, which is something we're going to see right across the board. For my holster, I probably should start here. The named piece, it's Brazos and it's the Picaros. Very little surprise here, best in slot. What this is going to do is, because I've got the backpack, it's going to give me the one piece, which is skill haste, and it's also going to give me the two piece, which is skill tier. So that's going to increase my skill speed to recover, and it's also going to give me a better skill as well. So the blocker drone is now going to be at a higher tier and ultimately block more damage when I use it, as well as my decoy, excuse me. When I drop that down, I'm going to get more duration out of it, which is going to allow me to close the distance. This comes rolled with 170,000 armor, crit hit damage, and it also has 10% weapon damage. So again, if we look at our stats, we've got 3 red cores, 15 for a weapon core, 10 is like 2/3 of a weapon core. So if we want to roll things up, we could say we have 4 reds, 4 blues. Okay, so it's helping us gain a little bit of extra damage. So for the gloves, I'm using a piece of Brazos. This is going to give us the third piece because we have 2. And what this does is it gives us 50% magazine size. So that's how we're sitting at 7 rounds in our shotgun and also 76 rounds in our Ouroboros, which is crazy. Very, very useful. Again, the reason why this is called the mag dumper. Core attribute is armor, 170,000, and then crit hit chance, crit hit damage, double crit attributes. This one might come as a little bit more of a surprise. I'm using the Fox's Prayer. It is definitely the best in slot. The reason why I'm using this for the main reason is just the damage to targets out of cover. Both weapons are stacking that stat, so this is the only extra source that we can gain. It is the best in slot piece, even though we are not using a rifle. It comes rolled with weapon damage and crit hit damage, as well as the 8% damage to targets out of cover bonus that we really want. Now, the rifle damage, as I said, is not going to do anything for us, but the accuracy is actually a very, very useful stat. The Ouroboros is effectively just a bullet hose. It sprays bullets everywhere. This is going to allow us to tighten up that aim cone and potentially aim a little higher up the body, more towards the head, where we're going to get extra nice, juicy damage. Okay, so the 30% is actually not a waste in this case. It's actually very, very, very good. So onto our skills. I am using the scanner pulse, and this again plays into the fact that we are having to close the gap between targets. So effectively, this is going to heighten my awareness and allow me to plan my course to get as close to the enemy as possible, which is quite important given that we have two close range weapons. For my second skill, I'm using the defender drone, and this is to block damage. We can see obviously because of the ninja bike we have one skill tier, and then two because of the Brazos. This effectively helps us block a lot more damage than what we normally would if we just had a flat 0 skill tier drone, which is giving us 18% PvP damage reduction. I've also got a damage reduction mod in there, just to let you know. Not perfect, but I've got a damage reduction mod in there that's helping out. Okay, so those are the reasons why I've got these. And the grenade, there's nothing really to write home about. It's just a cluster grenade. It can help you confirm a kill when enemies are down at a long range, but we're not playing like that, so really we're going to see limited usage. It's there if we need it. Right, so let's just make sure the range is on there, and let's also just check that our modifiers are off so we get an accurate depiction of our stats. I'm also just going to run in and turn off skill haste dead quickly, run in and out, and then come here, and we should be able to take a look at our stat sheet. So talents are optimist, rule them all, preservation. I have a little over 1.54 million weapon damage here, so hit him quite hard with the shotgun, and 33 crit chance. Again, that's like a third of the pellets that hit will crit, and the crits are high at nearly 170,000. The Ouroboros is at 59%, 1% off the cap, and also hits at 164,000 crit hit damage, which is great. Weapon damage is reasonably high. We have gear talents resourceful and perfectly unbreakable. Again, if we toggle PvP, that gives us 55% of our armor back once on a break in PvP, which is what we're interested in. However, we're using a shotgun, this helps, and the 5% extra is all welcome. Circle of Concern 2-piece, Ninja Bike backpack, Badger Tough 2-piece for that 10% shotgun and the 5% armor, and 3 pieces of Brazos, 2 that we're wearing with the bag as well, gives us 3, and 1 piece of Overlord, which is rifle and accuracy, as we've said. Our defense is reasonably high. We're sat somewhere between somebody with 4 and 5 blue cores at 1.6 because of that 5% extra armor that we gain, which is quite useful, helpful, help us close that gap as we are playing close range. We also have the pulse to help us sort of have a bit of awareness. Again, you can hold the pistol and make this more effective, have an extra skill tier, and that goes for the same with the drone, which will affect the cooldowns that we have as well if we hold the pistol in our hand. I think that should make it cool down. Can't see it here at the minute because it doesn't change on the stat sheet when you do that, but it will help a little bit with the cooldown. Right, so the main things to note with the build is just having to be a little bit careful. You can't just straight rush at enemies. You do need to get close. The main things I'll probably start with is just that sometimes your magazines, you'll see that you've actually got the original amount, like 50 bullets, okay? So you might need to reload. So that's something just to be aware of. Let's just bring a target into a range that would be normally a little bit harder to hit your shots. So again, if we look at the white dot, the accuracy, much better than what it would normally be. Again, we can use the shotgun, but we're going to need to get close. With us using Optimist, we can just hit anywhere, it's not going to matter too much. And if we keep within the last 3 shots, we're going to see quite reasonable damage. So we can stay within the last 3, or we can reload all the way right back up, depending on what we want to do. And again, we have the drone and the pulse to make us more aware of what's around us. We're hit for quite reasonable numbers, and we can just dump the entire mag. 76 if we get into a fight with somebody with the same weapon. We've got well, 26 more bullets than them, so we can spray for longer and harder, and it's also more forgiving. Again, the grenades, you know, if enemies are stood close in a cluster, you can use those. Alright guys, hopefully that's been of interest. This is my last video for the week. Thank you so much for the ongoing support. I'm up to 610 subscribers now. I've been growing and growing. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.